I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash market report for Monday, December the 19th. What a cold weekend we just had, and it was felt all over, all in cattle country, but really in the northern plains and up to the top of the southern plains there, but really cold and a big change in the weather, which is hard on cattle. I know here in the Amarillo area on Friday afternoon, it was about 76 degrees and the wind was gusting up to 60 miles an hour. And then by Saturday night, it was 2 degrees and just frigid cold and a lot of moisture in the air and some blowing snow. But you know, if you're a shipped in calf from Alabama or Florida or somewhere that just got turned out on some wheat and you've never experienced either one of those two things, it's pretty tough on you. And let me tell you, you could sure tell it by those calves humped up out there in the pasture with only a thin hot wire for a windbreak and no facilities hardly at all. But it's really tough. Now up in the northern plains, most of those cattle are pinned up, got bunked there, and they're supplemental feeding them pretty well, and they can stand it a whole lot better. And you can't feel too sorry for those cattle. That rumen is just like a furnace in there, keeping them warm. And if those cattle have got plenty to eat, it usually doesn't bother them too much at all. But look at some Friday markets there at the end of the week. Don't have a lot of big Friday sales, but the market was still good. If you look through the week there, up to late in the week on Friday, your market on cash feeders started out really good, as much as $5, $6, $7 higher in your early Monday sales, and then it started to fade off a little bit. I'm not saying it wasn't as good, but it wasn't as much higher as it was the previous sale. So and it closed the week with your feeders, your big calves mostly. There's not that many true yearlings unless they've been backgrounded heavily. But your big calves that have to go right into the feedlot firm to $3 higher. Your lighter calves in the southern plains are $2 to $5 lower, because it's just most everybody's got all their cattle turned out on wheat if they were going to, and not a big demand for them. Northern plains, those calves sold better because you're getting to the time where your farmers don't have anything to do. Well, they need a winter project, so they'll buy some calves and background them, and they sold $3 to $5 higher. And you sure noticed up in that country, they never mind flesh near as much as they do in other places. An Iowa farmer, if you send him a thin calf, he'd wonder what's wrong with it, because he likes a big fleshy calf. Well, getting into this kind of weather, you need some flesh on these cattle. You can't buy them too thin. They can't withstand the cold, and you get a big fleshy calf there, they sure sell better when it gets cold like this, and they just keep going right on, because they're fleshy for a reason, because they like to eat and they're good at it. But demand just especially better on your bigger calves than it was on lighter calves, especially as we got work towards the end of the week. But on Friday there in Lexington, Nebraska, if you look at your Cattle Market Central market report out of there, well over 4,000 head on offer. Your feeder weight selling $4 to $5 higher. But as you look at your lighter weight calves, a 5-weight steer was selling $2 to $5 lower. Heifers $2 to $5 higher. We've seen that some of these pure hedgers come in and push more on your heifers to keep their costs down. And when you see them go and get real particular like that, that means that they still demand in cattle. They just aren't real wild about the price on them. And so you can go ahead and start backgrounding some heifers to hedge there long term. But you look at your report out of there in Lexington, Nebraska, the 6 and 7 weight steers brought almost the same, from 136.5 to 137, while your 6 and 7 weight heifers brought almost the same too, from 127 to 128. But you look at the calf quote there out of Lexington, 206 calves weighed 583 at 141. Now just a week or two ago, or both a week and 2 weeks ago, they would have brought a lot closer to 150. And then we said those steer calves were lower. But then look, we still got to push on those big yearlings that guys think they can get done for that April board to hedge. 74 head weighed 947 at 134.85. That's just about $6 back of those light fancy calves right there. But you look at what's going to happen this coming week, a lot of your sales said, wait a minute, we don't really need to shut down for 2 weeks. Christmas is not till the next weekend, and we're still behind on selling cattle. We've got guys that want to sell cattle and the market's not too bad. Wait a minute, let's go ahead and have a sale. So a lot of your sales that had said they were going to be closed on this whole week are going to have a sale on Monday, and a lot of them on Tuesday, and a few of them on Wednesday. probably after Wednesday we won't have a lot of sales. But that's your feeder flash for Monday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.